With a sad face, come up to my place and live it up. We are live on the YouTube. Martin, Richard, hello, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Evening.
Christmas has not been cancelled.
No,
Christmas is on.
I felt that was inevitable, but I think it's probably the only thing the clubs could have done.
Well, Rich, if you look at it in a in a reasonable way, a logical way, if you will, if they were to cancel football for, say, a week, 2 weeks, okay, that would allow the players that are currently suffering from coronavirus to recover, and perhaps a few injured players to recover. However, it would mean that there would be a fixture congestion in February, March. And now, if you cancel all 10 games, because each game week is 10 games, right? 20 teams, 10 games. You cancel 2 or 3 weeks worth of football. There are already teams that are 2 or 3, 4 games behind the trend. So by March, there'd be 50 fixtures potentially. 25 to 30 to 40 to 50 fixtures that need playing. And it's just, that's insane. And it would never happen. Whereas if you continued on the approach that we're taking at the minute, which is carry on playing the teams that can play, then at least some fixtures are getting played, which means there'll be less congestion. Because there's congestion either way, but at least under this system, there's less congestion. As far as for the people watching at home and the people that attend the games, there are still potentially fixtures they can go to. And then there's no ramifications and knock-on effects for the broadcasters either, because BT Sports, Sky Sports and Amazon have all paid absolute fortunes for these games. And if you cancel football, how many... There's going to be football fatigue. So let's say that Man United and Chelsea have got a game on Boxing Day. They haven't, but let's say they have. You play that... You play that on a Thursday night in March after they've just played a different fixture 3 days before. There's going to be a lot of people picking and choosing, and that means that Sky won't sell as many subscriptions. Amazon will be out of luck because Amazon have only bought the Christmas games. BT Sport will be upset, blah, blah, blah. It'd have untold ramifications, so you've just got to press ahead and go. Now, as far as the British population, I know, Rich, this doesn't particularly affect you as you are abroad, but as it also currently stands, fans are still welcome at games, which is also fantastic because that's the last thing we want is to go back 18 months, So it's good news all around, but you've got to take it with a pinch of salt and realise that fixtures still can and will get cancelled.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's... I mean, the only thing that keeping it going means the clubs are probably all going to have to implement their own bubbles to protect the squads. Obviously, they're going to try and do everything in terms of those bubbles, in terms of the vaccines, etc., to minimise the impacts on their clubs. And ultimately, they're now pretty clear on the rules that if you've got 14 of your 25 available, and they include a goalkeeper that you play, and that to me honestly seems fair enough. I mean, if you've got 14 of your first 25 and you then got 5 youngsters or something added to that on the bench, that seems reasonable. The main thing is that they, protect the welfare of the players, and that seems like it will do that to me.
Yeah.
I don't think teams playing 4 games a week in March or April would be any better for the welfare of the players than playing the game now.
Martin, is the product going to suffer as a result of all this though? Even though we are pressing ahead, like Rich has said, if you've got 13, 14 players available, get it on with it. But what if your superstars are the ones missing? Are we going to see more academy kids play? Are we going to see a worse game of football than we potentially would have? Are clubs even going to be all this treachery and subterfuge where they're going to say, oh, well, we've got COVID and fake results? Or, is that a possibility? Let's say that Liverpool have got a key game coming up, or they've got players that they need to release to AFCON, for example. Are their players suddenly going to develop is there going to be an outburst of COVID at the club, meaning that Salah misses a week of football with COVID but can't go to AFCON? You know what I mean? Is that going to happen?
We don't actually know how these results, whether they've got to show evidence, or are they just taking the word of the club doctors, I presume. Because as far as I'm aware, I don't think it's independent people doing that. I think they're just doing lateral flow tests, aren't they, or whatever they're doing. I don't know if there's someone going in doing these tests and coming out. I don't know. But it'll suffer in a different way in terms of you're not going to get full crowds over Christmas. So you get, I mean, we saw it even with the Newcastle game yesterday. There were seats all over the show. Yeah. So the product is where you would normally have a Christmas bumper football style, where you're going to have packed houses and bouncing atmospheres. You're not going to get that because some people, we've seen it in everyday life, even with like Manchester City Centre, it's been quite deserted over the last few days. And this is, 4 days before Christmas?
Yeah, same's happened here in Sydney. Everyone, since about mid last week, people are cancelling things. They're not going to things. Everyone's keeping their head down. All the offices have said, don't come in again before Christmas. Everyone's just getting their head down, not wanting to catch it and go into isolation for Christmas Day. So yeah. I think, I mean, there'll be a lot of that. Although there will be a lot of that as soon as Christmas is done and people have seen their family and their elderly relatives and stuff, I suspect they'll then go back to going out. Because a lot of people don't want to, they don't want to ruin things for other people. They don't want to infect more vulnerable.
I agree, Rich. I think
relatives.
That's the mentality at the minute is, we've got to go and see Grandma at Christmas. Let's not kill her. But as soon as we've got that out of the way, let's go, go, go.
I suspect there'll be a bit of that, definitely.
I personally, I get Richard's point, and I've said it week after week on here, is that there is only 2 weeks free to fulfil any kind of fixtures that they need to fulfil. You've already got the likes of Tottenham, Burnley. I think Watford, they're already 2, 3, some are 4 games behind. And if you get more postponements, we've seen Tottenham being booted out of Europe because of a COVID situation. I think it's just delaying the inevitable.
It is potentially, Martin. There is potential for that, but the thing is, will there be a break? Possibly, but can there be a break over Christmas? Absolutely not. It is financially unviable for the clubs themselves. Other than that, Martin, you've got a very personal choice to make on Boxing Day, as you've alluded to a little bit. Do I go to the Manchester City game? Do I potentially make my ill parents even worse? So these are choices as fans that fans are going to have to make. Will football stop? No, I really don't think so. I really think that clubs will clamp down on this now. I think they'll have some levels of personal agreements where they go into bubbles, or they have punishments for the players that we don't hear about, whatever it may be. But fans will fans be back out the stadiums? I think partly fans are going to choose not to go to games, or less fans are going to choose not to go to games, and eventually we might be forced out the stadiums entirely. But I think it's all about personal choices at the minute, as far as I'm concerned.
Of course it does. And I think you've got to make the choice that is right for you in your situation. I think that's what you're going to do. I'll be very interested to see, because, I mean, they've come out and said they're going to review it in 2 weeks. I'll be very interested to see what happens over the Christmas period in terms of goal celebrations, things like that. Are they going to go around and huddle together and go? Because that was a big contentious thing.
That was ridiculous at the time, though, Martin. Let's be honest. Now, footballers spit all over the place for fun, don't they, during a game? Yeah. Yet you're not allowed to high five your teammate. It's silly, silly.
You can't do the handshake at the beginning. Yeah. They come out at separate tunnels at the minute, don't they? Well, if you haven't got a separate tunnel, you come out at separate times of the tunnel, which is kind of a bit of a mockery.
Silly. It's
you can't
silly,
walk
silly.
next to someone, but you can tackle them and hug them 2 minutes later. It's a bit of a mockery.
The hard thing is, though, and you talk about like family get-togethers and people being sensible. The trouble is, you can have 20 people in a family, couples with kids. But if one person takes no care of anything and the other 19 are sensible, they can all still end up getting sick and locked down because of one person. And that's the big debate in Sydney at the minute. In that the government, we've got a pretty right-wing libertarian government in New South Wales, and their view is no more rules, no more regulations. People can be responsible for their health.
No more books, Rich.
But, he is a bit of a lunatic. So, but the thing is with that is people have kind of government regulation went last Wednesday, and the restaurants are now emptier and the pubs are now emptier, and this was all done to boost business, but business shops are now emptier because people actually trusted the government and the rules more than they trust their fellow people.
Well, this is what I'm saying, Rich. This is what I'm
Before
saying.
they trust their fellow man.
This is what I'm saying about how the decision. This is what I'm saying about how the decision about playing games behind closed doors might not actually be a thing. I think that personal choice says everything about what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I think that there's going to be a hell of a lot of football fans, especially on the Boxing Day fixtures, that are going to go, you know what? I'm not going to kill my grandma this year.
Yeah. But it is a bit mad, and it is interesting how, I don't know what the economic term for it is, but when the government pushes a line so much of putting business in front of everything, which is what they've done here, they seem to have hurt business, because they've made things so free and open that now people are worried and they're choosing to stay at home. Whereas a week ago, when people were checking into a restaurant, or restaurants only had vax people felt a lot safer going out.
Yeah, because you know why, Rich? It's the old human nature. When you're told you can't do something, it's like a child. You tell that child they can't have that toy, they want that toy 100 times more than they wanted it first of all.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
when you're told by your government you can't go out, you go out.
I'm just
when
looking,
when
Martin,
the government say do whatever you want, you go, ooh, common sense.
I'm just looking, Martin, at some of the things that people are saying in the chat. Everyone's very happy that football's still going ahead. Everyone's, like Charlie said, Noah said, Sean said, they're all very happy that football's still going ahead. But Charlie's making comments like, do you remember when they had the players sat apart on the benches and they had the spaces between them and how ridiculous it was? Yet they'd all go into the changing rooms in a tight, conformed space together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, we totally agree with you. We totally agree with you that some of it's ridiculous, some of it's necessary. Personal choice is going to dictate. I swear, personal choice has to dictate what goes on. Just be common sense and just be normal. Just don't go crazy about it. Don't go around tonguing your grandma after you've been to a nightclub. But then at the same time, don't put your life on hold to be in the same room as her.
Do you know what it tells me though? It's maybe we need to have a little bit more faith in humanity. Because when we're at the stage where, when we are dictated to, you do tend to pull against. But people are using the brains this time. People are choosing to stay in. Now, like you said, it could be because they are going to see family, and we may see a completely different U-turn come January.
I think you're half right. I think you're right, Martin, about 90% of people. But I think there's 10% of people. I've got a mate. His two kids, aged 18 and 21, are in isolation for Christmas because they went to a party a few days ago, and someone at that party was a close contact to someone with COVID. They had a test, hadn't got the result, but decided to go to this party. Test comes back the next morning, they're positive. Everyone who was at that party has been told now to isolate, potentially for 2 weeks. If they test negative, I think on Christmas Eve or something, they can come out of ISO. So two kids back at home, and them and all their mates are in ISO because of one person's actions. Now, to me, you probably had a party of 50 people and 49 people did the right thing, but one person being selfish, doing the wrong thing, has screwed up everyone. And I think that's what people are now worried about. And whilst a lot of things during the last 2 years of COVID lockdown, everything, have restored my faith in humanity, in that a lot of people doing the right thing, helping each other out, looking after each other's mental health, and some really good stuff.
I agree with you, Rich, but look at
I've
the
also
start.
seen there's 5-10% of the population who are complete dickheads.
With that 5
or
10% of the population, Rich, the ones who went out and bought thousands of toilet rolls right at the start of this, if everyone can remember that far back.
Yeah, things like refusing to take tests when they're ill and going out and doing what they want. The people who tell everyone else that they're going to die if they have a vaccine. There's been a
All
lot
the people who turn the location things off the phone. Because trust me,
Yeah,
that
no,
happened.
just people
That
who are
happened.
deliberately. I've heard about people, and this I find completely bizarre. I've heard about people being abused and pushed for wearing a mask. Now, you may have your views on whether you like wearing a mask or not, but why should you give a shit if someone else chooses to wear a mask or not? You're saying I need to be free not to wear a mask, but that means that everyone else is free to wear a mask. And the idea that you're going to abuse someone for wearing a mask is absolutely hypocritical, stupid.
Hey,
it
Rich,
shows
football,
that the very things they believe in, they're lying.
In football, Rich, in the concourse, nobody wears masks.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is, but
I know you do, and I do, but there are hundreds of others that ain't doing it.
Yeah, and that is that. But has anyone? But to actually go and abuse someone for wearing a mask, I mean, how fucking stupid is that?
Because that's the
exactly. So let's look at the Christmas period then. Let's not put a Debbie Downer on the whole of society being vocal idiots in it. Really, a lot of idiots leave their villages on match days. Rich, let's put it that way.
90-something% are decent and have been really good. So.
But okay, so City as it currently stands, we've got Leicester on Boxing Day and Brentford on the 29th. Now, I believe that our game away on Brentford is on Amazon as it currently stands for anyone living in the UK. I don't know whether it's Amazon worldwide that gets to watch it or not. I would assume so.
I would assume that's what they paid for.
Yeah.
Because Amazon would want that, wouldn't they? And it'd be to be all over the world.
Well, the main thing that you want is clarity. Well, then you're looking in the wrong place. This is why I keep trying to stress personal decisions. You made a personal decision to book a ticket and a hotel. That's a personal decision. Stop looking for clarity in our leaders because our leaders don't offer clarity. They offer idiocy. It's as simple as that. You make the decisions that dictate your life. Full stop. Don't look to some other people to do it for you.
Yeah,
because the excuse of I booked the saying that I booked a hotel and a train and an away ticket doesn't fly because any given normal year in the real world when there's no COVID, you can book a holiday and that holiday can still get cancelled. That's just life. But everything around that is in your control.
And don't forget, this will still be there. Just because we're playing on the 26th and the 29th, still going to be there. And like you've been told, this could change at any second. So you're making that, it's your choice, like Rob said, it's your personal choice. Just if you're going to book the hotels, if you want to you make sure you get a cancellation, if you can. That's the only thing I would say, but it's your choice. We will never tell anyone how to do it, what to do it, and that's going to be your choice. But, I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to, especially the Boxing Day one. I always enjoy the Boxing Day games at City, and we do tend to get a lot of them on Boxing Day. We tend to get the Boxing Day games at home, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. As a kid, Boxing Day was the favourite games to go to. Yeah, when I was growing up in Manchester, I loved Boxing Day. I think, amazing atmosphere, a really good day out. Everyone was chilled out. Everyone was on holiday. Some fantastic games. Always cold. Always pumped up at Main Road. Magic.
We always enjoyed it because it was packed, wasn't it? That was the sellout you got, and because people didn't have work, and it's a weekend this time. I'm looking forward to it, and it's Leicester as well, so it'll be a really good game. It will be a cracker of a game. I'm really looking forward to it. I get to pay homage to Mr. Brendan Rodgers when he comes, and I'll clap him on. That's a joke, by the way, before anyone says I'm going to do.
Have they got any defenders, though? Because I thought they had 5 centre-backs out for the next month or something.
Steven Seagal plays centre-half for them, don't
they? Yeah. But again, though, the Brentford one will be great. First time ever going to their brand new stadium on a Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. A bit of a stupid time to be going to the outskirts of London,
Yeah.
Bit silly, not very fair on the fans, may I add. But like me and Rob have said in the past, when did a TV schedule care about fans?
To be honest, that's a lot better than going to Swindon on a Friday night.
I don't know, Rich. Swindon on a Friday or Brentford on a Wednesday, they're just both as bad.
No, believe me, the traffic.
Oh no, I've done Swindon.
Worse.
It's not done on a Friday night though.
That's one of the worst fixtures I've ever seen.
Yeah. You'll spend 3 hours going round and roundabouts. Listen, I'm looking forward to the 2 games, and like Chris has alluded to in the chat, we've got the squad to get through this. So even if we get, I don't think our team will necessarily. And I'm tempting fate now, touch wood. We have the capabilities to go with that 13 man and a goalkeeper, because we've got that world class squad. We've got the academy players that can step up.
So question for you, Martin and Rob, question for you on our squad. I saw a bit of chatter on this online this morning, saying that after the Newcastle game, Pep had been asked about the team he played, and his comment was, he usually makes a comment about playing the people, they're all good players, you don't want to play everyone. But he made a comment to the effect of, I picked the team that I thought was best based on behaviour of the players.
Yeah.
He made a comment like that, right? Yeah. And a couple of people had taken this and said, well, City cancelled all their Christmas parties and various things like this, but maybe a couple of the players have been out.
Yeah, it's the English players that have been dicking about.
Yeah, and so is there a Stones, Walker, Foden, Grealish, and the players who we may have expected to play didn't play? Have they been out and about in town? Maybe. Are
you alluding to, Rich, that maybe one of them has been dominating on and off the field?
Well, I guess
should I say dominating off the field?
Fucking hell, here we go. We've got another 6 months of Martin now saying, do you remember when I told that funny joke once?
Yeah, but no, but have we actually had some players who've been maybe going out and enjoying themselves, and Pep is, it hasn't made it into the papers, but Pep.
Oh, it has. Maybe. It has, Rich. It has made it to the papers. Oh, yeah.
So who is it? Is it those 5 English players?
It didn't say.
It is the English players, mate. It's obvious that it's the English players, but whatever. Let's move on from it. Discipline has obviously become a bit of a factor. It's silly season, Nobody.
Yeah. It doesn't matter when you look at the squad we have, but yeah.
Listen, that's happened. Well done, Pep. Well done, Pep. They deserve it.
Right, final thoughts, gentlemen, because I don't want to waffle on all night.
I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. I am expecting 6 points.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to be rollovers. Funnily enough, I do think the Brentford game will be harder than the Leicester game. Big time. Because I think Brentford will give us more of a challenge, especially at their place with their crowd behind them, especially at the Christmas period. And they've now got an upturn in form again. Leicester, up and down at the moment. And I think our style will suit Leicester. So I think it'll be 6 points. 1 not so awkward, but 1 very awkward win.
Yeah, I think we'll win both by at least 2 goals. I think that we had this chat back in August. I think we started the season with an unfit team. We basically threw away the game at Spurs by the level of fitness and readiness. But all of that was done so that we would actually start to hit our fitness and, strength at this time of year and carry it through to the end of the season. So I think at the moment we've probably got, touch wood, because obviously we could get COVID, but we've probably got the fittest squad in the Premier League, which is giving us the greatest depth at the moment. We've got no Carabao Cup game in the next couple of days, which gives our team a proper week's rest. And some of the players who haven't played this Saturday are going to have an almost 2-week rest from games. So I think we go into Leicester and Brentford, if we keep safe from COVID, in a really, really strong position. We will have a fitter, stronger team than anyone else. I think we'll
Yeah.
go through and have a really strong run at things now.
I just want to address two things in the chat before we wrap the stream up. Brian Gardner, I think that you are 100% spot on. I think that the coronavirus was released from Old Trafford because they wanted to cover up how shite they are as a football team. 100% fact.
Yeah.
Noah Pearson's asked, do you reckon that we're on for the 100 points again? No. And the reason why I say that we're not is because we'll have won the league by March and then we'll just do what we did last season and lose like 5 games. This isn't a 100-point season. This year, after we've wrapped the league up by March, we will be full-blown Champions League and FA Cup bound. Our fixation will become those 2 trophies and we will win the treble this season. Fact.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And also,
we'll end the season on like 86 or 87 points or something.
You got to
like
remember they've done the 100 points. We've done.
I think we'll get 90. I think we'll get at least 90, but
not sure, Rich. I'll take a high 80, mate.
If we sign Haaland in January, we win every game 18-0 and it becomes boring, doesn't it? So. Right, gentlemen, this will be the last time I think you'll see us before Christmas now. It's the 21st. We might pop up on Wednesday or Thursday with some random waffle. We're not quite sure yet. And we hope that you all have an excellent next week or two with your families, religious or not, Christian or not, Christmas or not. Mm-hmm. Spend time with your families. Appreciate what you've got in life. Love people. Don't hate people. Be sensible in the world, take precautions, live every single day as if your mother is going to find your dead body the next day if you've been an idiot, because you don't want to upset your mother. Fact. Yeah, no matter what you do in life, if you're a young lad, because there's quite a lot in the stream now, all of your actions that you carry out, just think how much it would upset your mother if she found out you were doing it. Have a great Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. And I just want to add on that, big thank you to everyone. It's our first Christmas as a channel, like Rob said. Big thank you to everyone. 2021, we became new.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to everyone.
Bye for now. Richard, bye. Yeah. Martin, bye.
Bye. Party at Wimslow Road.
Fuck off.